So it is my 52nd birthday today, and I've got up this morning, opened up some of my presents, opened my cards, and then sat with a nice cup of coffee, and then did what I always do every morning, and that is write down my goals and my affirmations in my journal. Now, it doesn't matter whether it's my birthday, whether it's Christmas, it doesn't matter what day of the year it is, I still follow the same routine. The only exceptions being maybe if I'm away or travelling or on a plane, then I have to do it slightly differently, but that routine is the same every single morning. Now, when I first started to pay attention to entrepreneurial learning that taught me about routine, I didn't really take it seriously. In fact, the first time I kind of got introduced to some of this, what I thought was a bit woo-woo, was when I read the book The Secret. Now, for any of you that have read that book or have heard of it, by an author called Rhonda Byrne, it is a book that talks about the law of attraction. And within The Secret, there are quite a few entrepreneurial people in there, and some that are a little bit more sort of outside the norm, that talk about how with the power of your mind you can attract what you want. And this absolutely fascinated me. And when I first read it back in my sort of early 30s, maybe mid 30s, I thought, wow, this sounds brilliant. All I've got to do is follow this formula and all my dreams will come true, just like the people in the book. But I found out pretty quickly that there's quite a bit more to it than just thinking about what you want and then having it happen. In fact, I found out the hard way, it could be quite the opposite if you don't attach lots of other entrepreneurial tools to get to where you want to be. And that's when I discovered this book, which you'll see is quite a tatty copy of Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Now, when I read this, that's when things started to click a bit for me. That's when things started to make more sense, because Napoleon Hill, when he wrote that book, took a much more entrepreneurial and scientific approach to what is effectively still the law of attraction. And anybody who wants to go down that rabbit hole, check out Law of Noetics. But the Napoleon Hill, he went about it in a much more, what I thought, scientific way. Because when you apply the law of attraction to the science-based elements that he brought in, then you end up with something that, for me, makes a lot more sense. Now, I talk a lot about goal setting, and in my book that I write every morning, I always put my goals in here and I always follow a formula. See an email that I sent earlier in the year that will link you to the goals poster that I use for that. In fact, I'll put it in the link below this video as well. But following that process is a combination of affirming what it is that you're trying to achieve and then combining it also with a vision. So one of the things that I do, if I can find my wallet, so I've got my little wallet here, is I actually create a vision board every year, and then this vision board sits in my wallet. It's on the side of my desk, and it reminds me of the things that I'm trying to achieve when I actually put them in my book. And nice to say, actually, as one of my birthday presents, I got a fantastic new book from my daughter for me to start filling up when that one's done, which is an awesome present. So how do we then attribute all of this stuff to actually achieving the goals that we achieve? And some would call this the law of attraction, but really, it just makes common sense. When you are in the habit of writing things down every day and your attention is given to them and you set those targets, then you make them happen. And a really good example of that is, let me take two of the nicer ones that give me great pleasure. So my fun goal this year was to go on a road trip around Europe in a particular car to do one of the things I've always wanted to do, a bit of a bucket list. And because I wrote it down every morning, I planned well ahead, and I planned that fantastic trip, which I just did a couple of weeks ago. And that happened because I gave my attention to it every day because of the habit of writing the affirmations. Now, another example would be for my relationship goal. This year, I said I want to have 6 trips away with my wife. Now, I write that down every day, and this year, that's quite a tricky goal because I've been traveling so much myself on my own. Trying to get those trips into the diary is proving very difficult. But because my attention is on it every day, I'm starting to get them in place, and it's a vitally important thing for me and my wife's relationship to get this time together in our busy schedules where we can go and spend time together. And so again, as a result of doing my goals, paying attention to it, making sure it's on my vision board, every day this stuff happens. Because really what we're happening, as it says in Think and Grow Rich, is we are creating habits that pre-program our unconscious mind, which is responsible for 95% of the thinking that we do. And so when we're constantly thinking of these things, we're more likely to take action to make them happen. And of course, action is the key. And that's where I felt that the secret was a little bit lacking, in that it didn't focus on the fact that you can't just think about this stuff, you've got to take action. So whatever it is that you want in your life, guys, pay attention to these kind of tools, because you may think they are woo-woo, but as I look back over my career and my life, the times when I didn't pay attention to this stuff is the times when I didn't set goals, I didn't write my affirmations, and I didn't achieve the things that I wanted to achieve because my focus wasn't on them. It's not woo-woo, it's just scientific, and really, it's common sense. So whatever you want, set your goal, make it habit to write it down every day, and your brain will then be helping you to take action more easily to achieve those goals. And as a little bit of a side note, if the goals that you set are huge, then even if you don't achieve them, because you're going through this process, you're going to get a lot closer to them than if you'd set very small goals. I will put a link below to the goals poster, and if you want to find out more about this sort of stuff, check out Blam TV, check out my Instagram, grandstaying.com, and I'll see you on the next one.